It is 3 o'clock according to my watch. We will call the meeting to order of the November 1st Greater Dayton RTA Board Meeting. At this time, if everyone can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Stanforth, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Lumpkin. Ms. Howard.
Present.
Mr. Fullerton.
Present.
Ms. Hairston.
Present.
Ms. Byrd.
Present.
Ms. Matthews Henson. Mr. Webster.
Present.
Mr. Williamson. We have 5 of 9 present, or 5 of 8, excuse me.
Thank you to Mr. Weckerser. We have a quorum today. All right, the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority bylaws require board trustees' approval of today's board meeting agenda. The agenda was mailed in advance of today's meeting. Are there any changes? Hearing none, I will declare approval of the consent agenda. Next, the minutes were also mailed in advance. Does anyone request a reading of the board minutes from October 4th? And are there any changes or corrections? Hearing none, I will declare approval for the October 4th, 2022 board meeting minutes. We will now move into the heart of our board meeting today with committee reports, beginning with the Finance Personnel Committee being presented today by Ms. Hairston.
The Finance, Personnel, and Planning Committees held a meeting on October 18th, and as a result of the Finance Personnel Committee is recommending 5 action items for the board's consideration. Action item number 2, resolution number 2022-11-1, fiscal year 2023 and 2024, 49 United States Code 5307, 5337, 5339, and other federal capital assistance grants. 49 United States Code USC 5307 authorizes grants for capital operating and planning assistance. 49 USC 5337 and 5339 authorizes grants to public transit systems in urbanized areas for capital assistance to support and maintain fixed guideway assets and other capital assets in a state of good repair. RTA can use this funding for the purchase of electric trolley buses, modernization of trolley infrastructure, the capitalization of maintenance costs, and other supporting facilities and equipment projects, as well as to maintain capital assets in a state of good repair. Resolution number 2022-11-1 provides authorization to file fiscal year 2023 and 2024 USC 5307, 5337, 5339, and other federal capital asset grants. The projects applied for will be consistent with RTA's approved capital and operating budgets. Mary Stanforth presented this action item at our meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Staff is available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Hearing none, based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve resolution number 2022-11-1, authorizing the filing of 49 USC 5307, 5337, 5339, and other federal capital grant applications for RTA fiscal year 2023 and 2024 with the Federal Transit Administration. Furthermore, the Chief Executive Officer is authorized to provide all necessary documents, execute grant contracts, amend the grant contracts if deemed necessary, and fulfill all other requirements of the applications.
I'll second.
We have a second by Ms. heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action item number 2 is approved.
Action item number 3, resolution number 2022-11-2, state fiscal year 2024 and 2025 Ohio Urban Public Transportation Grant Program applications. The Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, provides financial assistance to public transportation systems in Ohio through the Ohio Urban Public Transportation Grant Program. Current funding opportunities are offered under the Urban Formula Program and the Preservation Partnership Program. RTA intends to use state-awarded funds for preventive maintenance and other capital projects based on budget need. Projects can be selected from RTA's 2023, 2024, or 2025 list of eligible projects. Historically, RTA has applied under the Urban Transit Program as well as the Ohio Transit Preservation Partnership Program. In addition, we have applied for funding under some Ohio EPA programs, which are open to Ohio public transit systems. Other funding opportunities may arise and will be considered for application based on program requirements and current need. Ms. Danforth presented this action item at our meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Staff is available to answer any questions the board have at this time. Hearing none, based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve Resolution Number 2022-11-2, authorizing the filing of various applications for eligible projects under the State of Ohio Public Transportation Grant Program for state fiscal years 2024 and 2025.
Second.
It has been properly moved by Ms. Harrison and seconded by Mr. Fullenkamp. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action item number 3 is approved.
Action item number 4, authorizing Ohio Transit Risk Pool Shock Loss Fund payments. RTA is a member of the Ohio Transit Risk Pool, OTRP. OTRP allows members to contribute additional amounts over and above annual premiums to a shock loss fund. The shock loss fund provides a set aside for larger, sometimes catastrophic claims. Statistical averages indicate the pool can expect a larger claim of this magnitude every 3 to 5 years. Each agency's share of the OTRP Shock Loss Fund is tracked by agency, and all investment earnings are credited to each agency on an annual basis while the funds remain invested in OTRP. Each OTRP member is required to maintain at least 1 times annual cost to the Shock Loss Fund, but may contribute up to a total of 6 additional times their annual OTRP contribution. OTRP is a public agency and is subject to the same investing and audit requirements as RTA and other members of the pool. Ms. Stanford presented this action item at our meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Staff is available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve Ohio Transit Risk Pool Shock Loss Fund payments of $1 million for coverage year ending November 2023 and $1 million for coverage year ending November 2024.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Weckerser. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action item number 4 is approved.
Action item number 5, Regional Funding Program. The Federal Transit Administration, FTA, allocates federal funds to the Dayton urbanized area, which includes 3 public transit providers who are eligible to use these funds: Miami County Public Transit, Green Cats, and Greater Dayton RTA. How these funds are distributed between the agencies is a local decision. All 3 agencies previously agreed to a funding split of the 5307 funds based on a formula very similar to that used by the FTA when they allocate the funds nationally. This annual process is administered by the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission and is not proposed to change. Ms. Danforth presented this action item at our meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Staff is available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve Greater Dayton RTA making available local transit funds to one or both of our regional partner transit systems. Greater Dayton RTA will accept the transfer of available federal allocation funds from one or both of our transit partners when it works for both parties for the current federal funding cycle 2022 through 2026. Furthermore, the recommendation permits the Chief Executive Officer to execute any and all documents necessary to transfer local transit funds and to accept the transfer of regionally available federal funds from one or both of our regional transit partners.
I'll second.
Action item number 5, moved by Ms. Hairston, seconded by Ms. Hurd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action item number 5, Regional Funding Program, is approved.
Action item number 6, fair media. Greater Dayton RTA received proposals from qualified firms to provide the following types of fair media: reloadable smart cards, which are used by the riding public. They are sold from our ticket vending machines at Right Stop Plaza and the transit centers. Single-use ultralight cards, which are sold in bulk to agencies and organizations that purchase transportation for their clients, employees, etc. Both types of media must be compatible with all Masabi software and equipment currently used by RTA. Ms. Danforth presented this action item at our meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Staff is available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees award a contract to Masabi for fair media for 3 years at an estimated cost of $577,340.
Second.
Action item number 6, moved by Ms. Hairston, second by Mr. Fullenkamp. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action item number 6, fair media, is approved.
That concludes the action items for the Finance and Personnel Committee. There was one other item to mention, and that is that September 2022 financial statements and the small purchase information has been included in today's board package. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Hairston. We will now move to the Planning Committee, presented by Mr. Weckeser.
Good afternoon. The Finance, Personnel, and Planning Committee met for a jointly held meeting on October 18th, and as a result, the Planning Committee is recommending one action item for the board's consideration. Action item number 7, approval of demand response transportation services. Mr. Palachicchio explained that the purpose of this action item is to enter into partnership agreements with qualified mobility providers to assist with delivering demand-responsive services to enhance and increase mobile access within the region. RTA has been working with contractors since 1995 to provide demand response transportation services, and this procurement will continue that practice. RTA employed drivers will continue to provide ADA paratransit trips required by the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 unless they have exhausted all voluntary and mandatory work assignment options. The selected transportation providers will represent the RTA and must meet safety, performance, and quality measures set by RTA. A cost analysis was performed, which took into consideration all the various components the different providers proposed. Demand response transportation service providers will be paid with either unrestricted or restricted local operating funds or transportation-related capital funds based on the service provided. Staff is available for any questions at this time. Hearing none, based upon the recommendation of the Planning Committee, I move to award contracts to Anton's Cab Service LLC, Razor LLC, Uber, Lyft Inc., and UServe Holdings Inc. for a total estimated award not to exceed $2,400,000 per year or $7,200,000 for 3 years, plus $2,400,000 for option year 1 and $2,400,000 for option year 2, for a grand total of $12 million. Funds will be divided as needed between the providers based on agency or customer choice where applicable. In addition, that the Chief Executive Officer be authorized to carry out all actions necessary to add additional qualified providers as needed throughout the contract period.
Moved by Mr. Weckerser. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Great, seconded by Ms. Hurd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action item number 7, demand response transportation services is approved.
At the committee meeting, Mr. Palachicchio also provided a summary document of recent activities in the Customer and Business Development Department, along with a presentation. Mr. Palachicchio's presentation included highlights of RTA's ridership to date and a comparison to the rest of the United States. He noted that RTA's ridership is beginning to trend above the U.S. average and that weekend ridership continues to rise. Mr. Palachicchio also provided information on RTA's current workforce challenges and the need to ensure that workforce levels meet the scheduled service on the street. Finally, he discussed that there would be 2 upcoming service changes, one change minor in November and a major service change in January or February 2023. That concludes my update. I'm available if there are any additional questions.
Thank you, Mr. Weckerser. We will now move to the Chief Executive Officer for his report.
Yep. Brandon, can you put our map up? So today I had the privilege of kicking off our 50th anniversary celebration. I was actually here for the 20th, the 40th, and the 50th, so I thought that was kind of cool. We had a press conference at 10:30 this morning where we unveiled our 50th anniversary buses, which you all saw when you came in, and we'll tour those after the board meeting today. Each one features a history of our various logos over the years, as well as the different buses we've operated over the years. Really proud of our maintenance department who put those together for us and our graphics team who designed them. Great work, guys. We also announced that on this Thursday, we're going to have a private celebration for our employees to celebrate the 50 years of service over at our 600 garage, so we're getting ready for that right now. And that we are kicking off on Friday, November 25th, as part of the Downtown Holiday Festival, which is also celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, which was another kind of cool thing. We're going to be open that night. The new storefronts downstairs, each one will have a different theme. One will be for children with balloons and T-shirts and different things, and one will be a photo booth for the families. Another one will be a history of RTA with Tom Morrow, who is very well-versed in our history. And then finally, we'll have one that will be passing out goodies for adults, like T-shirts and stuff. So then we are also kicking off later this week a year-long celebration for our customers. Without our customers, we wouldn't be here. And so we wanted to have different things all year. Most of them will revolve around 5 or 50 or whatnot, something. And we'll announce them every month or so, every couple of months. But we're kicking off. We went back in our history, and this is the earliest system map we could find. This is where RTA services stopped at Stroop Road in Oakwood and went just past the Forest Park Mall up North Main. So our services were just limited at that time to Oakwood, Kettering, and Dayton. But there's a little box on the right that talks about a promotion they were running then, and they called it happy hour. And what they were doing back then is they were having 25-cent fares after 7 p.m. and on the weekends. So we thought we would do that one up by bringing in the fives to the equations. So we're offering free fares 5 days a week after 5 p.m. in addition to our free weekend fares through December 31st. So all our customers can ride the bus free now, Monday through Friday after 5, as well as the weekends. And we'll announce our promotions following that as those dates get closer. So we're really excited. We had good turnout for the press conference, and we're expecting some good things. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Do we have any old business to discuss? Any new business? I'm looking at you, Bob. No new business? All right, that will bring us to our public comments. Just as a reminder, anyone wishing to address the board must speak on their own behalf. After you are recognized to speak, you must come to the lectern, or if you are physically unable to do so, a handheld microphone will be brought to you. You must first state your name, address, and after doing so, you have 3 minutes to make your comments. A yellow light will come on when you have 30 seconds remaining. The secretary will say 30 seconds. When your 3 minutes are up, the red light will come on and the secretary will say stop. And at that time, you must stop talking and leave the lectern or surrender the microphone. After comments are done, I want to make sure that we appreciate everybody who's coming, but if you have any additional questions, you can see someone from our staff after the meeting. So we have 7 people bringing public comments today, beginning with Mr. Kevin Frazier.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Frazier. I'm the president of Local 1385 of the Amalgamated Transit Union, which you guys are all aware by now. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the board. I really do commend your decision last month on withholding the cut on Route 14. Thanks, it says a lot about the direction I think we may be moving forward to. Secondly, I'd like to discuss the issue about ridership again. As I have spoken for the last 3 months pertaining to ridership, especially on Sundays being up, you are not aware, but I will make you aware of what has transpired on our side as far as transportation goes. I have requested that my members do a survey every Saturday and Sunday, account sheet is what we call it. And this is a copy of some of the routes that we have covered. I do not have a lot of them, so I'm not going to give them to you today, but I will make sure you get the majority of them when I receive them. And I just want to briefly go through some of these real quick, because I keep hearing this ridership on Sundays is through the roof, and in comparison to what I'm not sure what the numbers were when you guys first started this, but I will give you some examples of what I have received from my members on the routes that they are running. This comes from operator Donye McCall's badge number is 4662. On Route 18, run 1 on 18, and this is on a Sunday. Donye, in the course of his day, picked up 96 passengers. This was on Sunday, the 16th. Donye route started at 5:13 in the morning. It ended at 2:43 in the afternoon. In our industry, we look at it this way. You either look at it as 5 total trips. This is almost a 10.5-hour run. 5 total trips, circles. Well, you calculate that number into 5, or you can do it into 10, of half a trip. And what you're going to come up with about 9 passengers per hour. I have a couple of these documents, so like I said, I will get them to you. I don't want to take up a lot of your time today or mine. The second thing I would like to say to this board is, since I've been in transportation, I learned something about this industry. There's a you want to call it a pecking order, a feeding order. And this is how it actually works for me. Without this public, there will be no RTA. Without RTA, there will be no ATU. And that's just how I look at this. No other way. It is never going to be my intent to come in here and tear this place apart. Never. That will never happen for me. I need to make sure you guys stay strong. You keep this company strong. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Next, we have Ms. Sandra Smothers.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Mae Smothers. I live at 215 McDaniel, apartment 207, McPherson Town. And I'm here to speak today again about this senior Easy Rider. You all need to bring that service back to these seniors. Y'all have did an injustice to us seniors. And I don't appreciate it, and I'm sure they don't either. And another thing, if you don't get out here, Mr. Rosinski, and ride these routes, you don't know. You can't sit behind your desk. And you too, Brandon, you can't sit in the office and judge the book by the cover. You got to get out here and ride these routes to find out what's going on. The last driver that had it before Jackie took it over, that was Andy Reynolds. Andy said it wasn't enough people riding it. I sent a letter to Washington, D.C., to the head of transportation, Mr. Buttigieg. And you, Mr. Rosinski, told him wasn't enough people riding. I don't know why you told him that, because that's a field. That's a big field. And I also sent a letter to Joe Biden also, because this is ridiculous the way you have did these seniors. We are seniors, and you're going to be a senior one day. So you need to stop and think what you did to us, because I am very mad and upset with you. And Brandon, you need to go back and teach school if you can't see how to do these routes. Now, I'm sorry, but I had to get it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smothers.
Quite well.
Next, we have Ms. Mary Miller.
Yes, my name is Mary Miller. I live at 229 Colgate Avenue in Dayton. First of all, I want to acknowledge Robert Brown, the driver that was injured. I still don't hear much about him, and I wonder how he's doing, because he was always happy, lucky-go, help anybody and everybody. And I think it's a shame that he's been swept off in a corner. Next, I wanted to ask about the motivations that RTA is providing to the community as far as rewards. There should be a program for students to get a discounted ride or pass, since they don't have a contract or whatever. Make this something that would bring them interest in the company, and then make it a path to a job. Make it a path to a mechanic, a driver. In Minnie Fields Johnson's day, everybody had to have a CDL. So if there was an emergency, they could cover. Mr. Rosinski, you've been here over a year. What's taking you so long to figure out you need to be the leader and lead the company? If you get a CDL, maybe some of the other people will trust you. You can't do their job, so why should they bother? The cost that RTA has dropped the Easy Rider that went to 36 communities, it couldn't have been worth it. You paid $1 to ride the Easy Rider, and you went wherever you were going. The bus went one driver per day. You didn't have to have 5 or 6 like the flyer does. The flyer doesn't have the passengers to maintain
30 seconds.
And I would strongly suggest you all look into this, because if I can figure it a big question, you should be able to come up with small answers. And so far, we've gotten none. It's not acceptable. and I'll be back at the next meeting because our business is never considered old or new business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Next, we have Lynetta Day.
My name is Lynetta Day. I stay at 1465 West 3rd Street. I'm talking about the seniors. A lot of seniors I see that stay in the building where I stay at, they ask me all the time when it's the 64 and 65 is coming back. I told them this, come to the board meeting and you will find out. I try to tell them what I can, but they consideration about the 65, 66, and 64 rides. Because there's some over my building that catch them buses. And they keep on saying the same thing over and over. And all I can do is tell them, come to the board meeting and you will find out.
Thank you, Ms. Day. Next, we have Ray, is it Stanich?
Stanage, yes.
Stanich?
My name is Ray Stanage. I live at 215 McDaniel Street, apartment 208. This is my neighbor, so there's lots of information going around. I'm also really concerned about the senior rides. When I first moved into Asbury, my neighbors told me about the convenience of these, and it was amazing. I have vision problems. I can't drive day or night, and I have no family here, so it's my only option. And when those were taken after I'd only been on them a few times, when they were taken, it was such a loss. I've heard horror stories about my neighbors having to walk through mud and rain to get to buses. The other buses were right in front. We could wait in our lobby and then just walk out. It was an amazing thing for us to have. One other thing that I've noticed since this is my first meeting, but talking with other people, there's so much information that we have about RTA. As you heard Ms. Sandra speak, you know, she's got her finger on the pulse everywhere, and most of us do. We have a lot of information, and it would be helpful if there was someone, but not only are we speaking for ourselves, but someone who advocated for us also. Not everyone can make it to these meetings, and it's needed. I'm a new face here, but I've been told that that's what's needed, that it can't be just the same people, because every day there's new people needing these rides, the 65, 66, and 64. Exactly those. We're hoping to have some good news about them, but I don't know, you know, hasn't happened yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stanich.
Sharon, since she's a new visitor, I'd like to just let her know some things. When we made the difficult decision to cut those routes, we did obtain grant funding to do door-to-door trips to the grocery store for any seniors in Montgomery County, not just the ones previously served by Route 64, 65, and 66. And that service has been running since then. And I would like to share with the board that we did get a accommodation letter from Sandra May talking about what a great job her small bus Connect driver did helping her with her groceries last week. So we know the service is being used. So there is services available. And if you get with Brandon over there, he can share with you how to make those reservations.
Thank you, Bob. Next, we have Charlene, is it Dawson? Am I saying that right? Dawson?
My name is Charlene Dawson. I live at 6045 North Main Street, Dayton. It's Sienna Village. We are still waiting. I noticed that you guys took our sign down for the bus. And like the others here that are with me, people in our building ask us, when are we gonna get our bus? We're getting ready to come up on another winter, trying to cross North Main Street in the 6000 block. You take your life in your own hands. We can't even get the Department of Transportation to put us a light there so that the traffic will stop, so that we can get across the street. And now you take our bus. We want 63, 64, and 65 back. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Stop fooling around and put it back where it belongs. You say we don't have enough people. There are times when I rode the bus, I had to wait to the next one because there was no room for me to sit. So what you're saying is not having enough riders? That's a lie. We have more than enough. Seniors do use, and we use it all the time. We need our bus back. If you care, if you even care about seniors, give us back our bus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dawson. Our last speaker today is George, is it Stanley?
It used to be Stanley, it's now Stamati.
Samati.
That's the Greek pronunciation.
Thank you very much.
Very well. I met Mr. Rosinski today.
Can you please state your name and your
George
address, please?
Stamati, 219 Neal Avenue. I also have a residence at 841 Belmont Park North, and I bought a house which I live in also at 106 Squirrel Road.
Thank you.
Recently, I have driven the bus, though I have in the past because I went to Sinclair College and I graduated from the University of Cincinnati. I commuted back and forth. My family has a lot of history in Dayton. Because I had two cars crushed, I had to ride the bus and walk, and walking is a lot healthier. However, the bus is available, especially in bad weather. You are in a service industry, so was I. I was in food service. But I also have my own business. So I understand, and like in any other business, communication is the biggest problem, and you have a lot of that here. First, I want to congratulate you on your 50th. I also am celebrating my 50th. I met my girlfriend here in Dayton. I lived in Cincinnati. She lived in Columbus. And this is 50 years we've been best friends, and hopefully fiance. Anyway, the communication problems I've found are basically at the hub with the bus drivers. I've talked to a lot of employees. I found out today that you have different unions for different employees. And I have met the previous CEO many times because his visibility at the hub was a lot more prominent than your current CEO, Mr. Rosinski. People like to see the person that's in charge. I do, because if I have a problem, I like to talk to him. I've talked to the ambassadors, and a lot of them are very apathetic. I found the education of a lot of the employees is very poor. I've asked questions, I've asked schedules. I didn't know what nullifying a bus meant until I was told a bus driver didn't show up. So I'm waiting for a bus, and it never comes because you don't have enough bus drivers. But the communication when I call, which I had a flip phone, and another problem is you don't have schedules anymore. And I've had a bus driver say, I wish we had a paper schedule. If paper is a problem, then offer them on demand. The bus drivers said they could carry them on their buses and then they'll be available. And if there's a lot of waste, then a lot of people don't have smartphones, especially senior citizens. I know the young kids are great, but the old people, I don't know computer technology. I'm still learning computer technology. One ambassador down at the hubs, I asked his name, it's Mr. Rita, RTA. And it was like, aren't you proud of who you are and where you work? Bus drivers used to have their names on the buses, used to know who they are. I have to ask now. And a lot of people were ashamed to give me their names, especially if there was a problem. And that's not good because everybody should be proud of their job and what they're doing. I am, and they should be too. And if they're doing a good job, then there's no reason why you shouldn't have a name tag. Let's see, and a few other things. Anyway, I think I'm finished.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stamati. Thanks, everyone, for your public comments today. I'll now give an opportunity for our board members to offer some comments, and I will start with Ms. Hairston.
No comment. I've said enough today. Enough talking.
Mr. Fuller-Camp.
Just congratulations to Greater Dayton RTA, 50 years. Main accomplishment But everyone should know there's a lot more before the 50 years, too. The boards over there are just excellent sources of history. Thank you.
Thank you.
No comment,
Really?
but I do want everybody to see my socks,
Okay.
but I'll parade around after.
Mr. Weckeser?
No, just also congratulations on 50 years to everyone at RTA.
I will offer my congratulations as well and invite my board members to come outside afterwards to see the buses. Mr. Rosinski, do we need an executive session today?
We do not.
All right, well, no executive session, so I get to say the best line of the day. Does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that? All right, the meeting is adjourned.